on the Black Dimension. I'm Kev, and with me is Roger and Donnie, and we are here to do our Harley Quinn Birds of Prey movie review. For the next couple of minutes, we will give you a non-spoiler discussion. If anything, just in case you want to go see the film and you want to watch this. But we're going to give you our rating, and we're going to tell you why in some non-spoilery words. And we're just going to take a couple seconds, and then we'll get to our spoiler part. So brace yourselves, guys, for this awesome show. All right, Roger, Donnie, how y'all doing?
Doing pretty good. You?
Yes, I am great. And here we go. We before we came on the air, we discussed what we wanted to, as far as our what we want our rating to be for this film. We have three official ratings for each film we do a review on. We have our buy rating, which is definitely go see it, get it on Blu-ray or download it on digital when it comes out. Buy is a definite go. And if I compare by to another review, it'll be two thumbs up. Now we have our second tier rating, bootleg. Bootleg is just a term, just basically just to scalp the movie off the streets through a burnt DVD form, which is highly illegal and that is considered stealing, and we do not recommend it. But if you happen to, we're just saying if you happen to come across the film in that way, well, it doesn't hurt to watch it, but I wouldn't break my neck to go to the theater to see it. Also, it's also going to come to like a TV or a streaming service at some point, so you could very well wait till then. And we have our bomb rating, which means don't waste your time, don't bootleg it, don't definitely not buy it. That means that it's a goner. They wasted their time. It's the worst thing that you can say about a movie. A bomb. It's probably going to end up with a Razzie. And if anybody knows what a Razzie is, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So we rated this film at bootleg, and I just explained what bootleg was. Basically, the at first what did it for me was the title of the film was quite misleading. Um, it did feature the Birds of Prey characters, but they should have just went ahead and promoted it as a Harley Quinn film. It was the Harley Quinn show, and it wasn't promoted that way, and people were ready to see a Birds of Prey film. I think it was already presented in TV show form, so I think that people were looking for an upgraded version. Along with that, this Harley Quinn Birds of Prey title is a title change after the original release of the film. The original name for the film was Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, meaning that they were going to focus basically on her breaking up with the Joker, which they kind of did. So, Roger, why did you give this? Why did you decide in favor of the bootleg rating?
Because this movie was just nowhere near as spectacular as it could have been. Simple as that. The effort wasn't there. Um, don't get me wrong. It was cool. Harley's an interesting character, but there was nothing, no extra flash going on in this particular movie. In my particular perspective, not enough violence. Um, the drama level of it wasn't really that fantastic to me. It was just okay. It was a decent story to follow along, but it just didn't seem like a how can I say if we were talking about sports, it didn't seem like this was a starter movie. Seems like this came from the backup roster. You know, you wouldn't start the day. You need to play backup. So yeah, the story of the film, it was okay, but it wasn't nothing really spectacular, amazing going on. It didn't leave me wanting more. It didn't do that. It was cool, but it didn't like. I'm not interested in like the Birds of Prey sequel at all. Just not.
Okay, so you say your anticipation level for a sequel is just not there at all. Whatever. Let's bring on Suicide Squad 2, that kind of thing. What about you, Donnie?
For me, I enjoyed what maybe the first 30 minutes of that movie. I really did. I thought it was a great introduction to the movie. It started off well. It made me feel like this is gonna go somewhere. And then I would say around that 30-minute part where we doing spoilers.
Not yet.
Okay, yeah. So the 30-minute part.
And they don't
Um,
have time. They got time. They know it. They know we done rated it. So why not?
okay, yeah.
But
Shit,
I
well, you know
did.
what? Well, yeah. Then so around the point where she got caught by Black Mass is where everything fell apart for me. Um, it was too much going on. I feel like Black Mask as a villain could have been done a little bit better. Um, he didn't really wear the mask enough for me. He wasn't as I wanted to see him go a lot harder in the paint. In addition to that, I feel like the other characters, Black Widow, Black Canary, the detective, and Huntress were not fleshed out enough. I think we got a little bit for Black Canary, but we needed more. As far as the little girl goes, I, I don't know what they were doing there. It was just random. Cassandra Cain, it was real random. So I wanted more from the movie, so it let me down.
Well, I'm gonna say this. To me, the story of the movie didn't really do anything because DC does not seem to have a direction of as far as the DCEU. There seems to be no real direction on where they're going with their films. And yes, you can always just have a drop story here and there that doesn't necessarily have to tie so majorly into other movies. But this didn't really do much. Like it wasn't much of an action movie. It wasn't much of a drama either. You know, it wasn't that much of a comedy movie. It had elements from each type of movie, but you didn't get a real sense that it was a movie of any of those three forms. It wasn't an action. I can't say it was a drama. I can't say it was a comedy. It just had parts of each, and I just don't think it was put together that well. The Black Mask was not. He wasn't a very good villain in my opinion at all. You could take him out of this movie and put him in any other movie, and it'll work just fine. Like I say that like he could have been in Goodfellas, but he wasn't even all that convincing as a person to be afraid of. He just wasn't. He there was no intimidation factor level to me at all. It just wasn't.
I
So I
think
just
Okay. All right.
the best part about him was when he was with Victor's ass and he had those people upside down. That said, okay, this is gonna get good. And then after that, he just was a flash in the pan. There was nothing else going on for him.
All right. All right, guys. I think the one thing that I felt like they should have focused on was making it a good film instead of trying to. And I'm going to be that guy, shove messages into a film, into something that's just supposed to be purely for entertainment. And right now we are now that we told you our rating of bootleg. If you haven't seen the film, I guess making it a bootleg doesn't put much faith in it. So if that's your kind of thing, if you want to see Harley Quinn in action, and don't get me wrong, Margot Robbie is the perfect Harley Quinn. She is that's her. Margot Robbie is Harley Quinn. I can't see anybody else doing that role. But as far as this film, um, bootleg. Now for the spoiler part. All right, guys. Okay, so let me ask y'all a question. What could have made this film better to you?
Jared Leto.
I was gonna bring that up too. Yeah, man, like
they
because I
def-
saw this little
they
visual right here.
they needed a
Yeah.
better story. There was not much to the story.
Um. Now here's what makes me mad about films like this. They don't like I said, they don't concentrate on the storyline. There were a lot of Joker references, and basically the movie with the Joker references, they were trying to say, "Oh, we don't need the Joker here. Harley Quinn does not need the Joker. I mean, she's gonna like she played the role of a sad, broken up girlfriend, but it was like, could it have done without the whole complaining about the Joker for half the film? Yeah, it could have.
You know what? I'm gonna say I didn't even really mind them uh dealing with because she technically is the really crazy ex-girlfriend. I didn't really mind them dealing with the Joker part. To me, it just wasn't a good story. Because when you think about the story of the movie, what were they trying to accomplish in this movie? Think about it. What was she really trying to accomplish in this movie?
So basically,
Not
my
much of anything.
my whole takeover was she had pissed a lot of people off, and they saw she didn't have Joker's protection. So when the shit hit the fan, at that point, it I was excited to see what was gonna come of this movie, but it just didn't go the direction I thought it would go.
Yeah, I'm,
I
I'm
thought there
saying there
would
was.
be a lot more fights throughout the movie because you remember, in the first 30 minutes, it was a different villain coming up to come fight her every 2 seconds, popping out of the woodwork, coming to come get her. And then after that, it was only Black Mask, and that was annoying.
Yeah, and the girls didn't even have a good story of how they formed a team. They just happened to be at the same place at the same time, and they needed to get out of there together. So they didn't
Right.
really like even form up good or anything like that. That's what I'm saying. The story was trash.
They didn't even
In my,
come to birth straight to like the end of the film, and then it wasn't that element wasn't even fleshed out enough. It was like it was like they tried to put together, but they must have saw like, okay, this is going to be the Avengers, but for women. You know, that's what I'm thinking that they were that what way they were going with it.
It was
man,
poorly done, in my opinion, because I don't even know what the hell was going on with Huntress. Because I felt like she spoke. I realized she spoke, but really all I heard from her was uh, ah, it was like a series of grunts came out because she was so damn angry. Well, it was too much going on with that character.
Mm. I would say that the biggest problem character probably for me was probably Cassandra Cain. Like, I think that she was supposed like in the comic book, she's supposed to have like a Damian Wayne like upbringing. She's the daughter of Lady Shiva, a badass assassin, and like not even just an assassin, one of the top assassins actually.
With
And you gonna say what? No, but anyway, yeah, and it just didn't seem like that was the direction that they were going in with her. They just kind of made her into a little potty mouth pickpocket. And that I know they were trying to have fun with it, try to give it that R-rated feel. By the way, this film is rated R. But I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know where they like at the end of the day, what could that develop into? I know they were probably thinking sequel. She's gonna grow into her role and everything, but that to me, like that point is delusions of grandeur.
you, by the way,
Um,
interesting side. Sorry, totally off topic. You know how I found out this movie was rated R?
oh,
I bought Groupon tickets.
rated R.
six
oh,
bucks, studio movie grill. Yeah, well, no, I
well,
bought the Groupon tickets. It was $6 at Studio Movie Grill, right? So me and the missus, because we have a young infant, we typically get up and go to the movies early in the morning because early in the morning he's about to take his nap. He'll pass out in the theater. We can put the little headphones on him, and there's not a whole lot of people around, right? Then, not to mention, this is a movie theater where you can get food and everything delivered to you, so you kind of live like a king a little bit. Uh, we show up to the theater with our tickets pre-bought. I get them. We go to walk in line, and the lady goes, "Oh, this is an R-rated movie. You can't take that baby in here." I said, "Well, he's a baby." Yeah, no children under 18 at the R-rated movie. I said, "Well, first off, R-rated is 17 and under, but he's a baby." And we went back and forth. But yeah, ultimately had to go to a different theater to go see this movie. So I was real disappointed that day.
That sounds like an idiot. You're not supposed to be able to take a child in there without the adult. If the adult say it's okay, the kid is fine. When
A
did that ever change?
6 month old, 6 month old, by the way. It's not like he's gonna be sitting up enjoying it, acting out the scenes, doing the kung fu and the karate. But yeah,
yeah. So do you think that with this film they anticipated the charisma of Harley Quinn to get through the entire film? And basically Sans Jared Leto.
I don't know what they were really trying to aim for because to me it could have been a good setup for each of these characters to do something later, not necessarily their own film, but maybe two or three of them in a film together, but they didn't really flesh out any of the characters well. I mean, you knew who Harley Quinn was, true. Uh, they kind of explained who the Huntress was to a certain degree, but not enough
They gave
that you'll be
bare
totally
bones.
interested in another movie.
They gave you
If
bare
you
bones
didn't,
on everybody else. You didn't get an attachment to them. You especially couldn't get an attachment to Huntress. You couldn't get an attachment to the detective. You did get a little bit of a feeling because she had more screen time for everybody else, which is Black Canary. But for them to make a franchise off of this or a spin-off movie off of this, it would be really irresponsible and just foolish.
Yeah, it's a
with,
cool little sit down when you at home chilling one day with not much to do. It's a cool movie for that, but that's it.
yeah, I think that for if DC was trying to build a solid universe, they failed once again.
Yeah,
If you
that's
didn't
where
know
we get
anything, if you didn't know anything about Black Canary, you would have accepted Journey Smollett Bell's version. I don't necessarily mind the race swap, but still the execution was poor. Huntress, her execution was poor. They forced all these stories into existence without any kind of development. Like you saw the part where the family got gunned down, and I knew there was something up with the little girl because they didn't necessarily show her getting shot. They just showed the family laying down. So for some reason, I knew to focus on that little girl, but later in the movie, they showed that that was her family, and there was really no reason to care in between any of that. Like they didn't. It was just no reason to care. You saw a family get gunned down. So what? How is this going to come back into fruition? Oh, that's Huntress's family.
But you know what? It
I
could have been a
recently
great
saw.
scene. Well, let me say it could have been a great scene if the if the mask would have been if the black mask would have been more hands on. It could have been a scene to really be that he was a terrifying individual. But to me, they blew that too. They didn't make him intimidating at all.
He couldn't
You
fight.
know.
Black Mask could always handle himself. He couldn't fight this movie. He was running from Harley Quinn. Black Mask used to go hand in hand with Batman. So you telling me Harley Quinn got him running? Nah.
Well, yeah, but they made Harley Quinn like the main badass of the film. She like the police scene is like could I actually buy that happening that way? Did she make it believable enough in that police station?
She really didn't.
And
She really didn't.
and then like the answer to me was no. And like I said, the only female cop that she came across was Renee Montoya, one of the characters in the film. It was like it was with a gag gun and beat up an entire station full of male cops.
Yeah,
It,
it was hard for me to buy into that whole concept.
I mean, you mean to tell me not one of them gave her a challenge? I mean, sometimes the goons gave Batman a challenge. I mean, they OP'd, like they overpowered Harley Quinn in this movie so hard. Now, I hear in the comic books she is a trained martial artist. She's trained in several forms of martial arts.
Harley Quinn? Yeah, Harley Quinn's a
Yeah,
badass, but again, she's never toe to toe. She like if I remember correctly, anytime there's been a battle between Batman and Black Mask, it's been a close little battle. Harley Quinn has come and she slashed Batman. She's caught Batman by surprise. But when it's been like a direct 1-on-1 and she didn't have some kind of super advantage, it wasn't happening.
Well, and see, my thing is they didn't make that police station thing believable because they didn't flesh out that people had a reason to fear Harley Quinn. Because if she came in like that and it was a general fear of Harley Quinn, then it makes the scene more believable. You know what I'm saying? If nobody really wanted to test her, but they just did a poor job at it at the end of the day.
and
Yeah.
also I think they overpowered her basically to show that she really doesn't need the Joker. You know, she doesn't need the Joker's help. She can hold her own. And I mean,
But see,
like,
that's the
that's
kicker. The Joker
cool.
could never
But
fight. Have you seen any
no,
iteration of the Joker other than the video game? Have you seen any iteration of the Joker where he was just fighting, whooping ass?
man, Joker were always like he would kind of kick with the goons for a second and then run off. But no, he could never really go toe to toe with Batman. Not like that. Not it's not
Well, that,
injustice.
but yeah, they've never showed because he has a good. Donnie has a good point. They've never showed the Joker really fight much of anybody. He would do things that would intimidate people, but he wouldn't necessarily fight anybody.
He was a
So
Okay.
diabolical mind. So he was the reverse of Batman. He did some planning. He had some crazy stuff going on. He would always get you with the upper hand. But if a one-on-one fist fight occurred, Joker was getting his ass whooped every single time.
Hmm. Okay. Now I'm gonna say this about one of the villains. Okay, y'all ever watch Gotham? Any Gotham?
I watched it.
Well, Victor Zaz is in Gotham,
Yep.
and Victor Zaz is also in Birds of Prey. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say I think the Victor's ass in Gotham was way better than the Victor's ass in the movie. It is Victor. I mean, either one of them aren't really a great incarnation of Victor's ass, not like the Arkham video games. But I would take the Gotham version over the Birds of Prey version.
I think the Gotham
Am I wrong?
version had to be fleshed out a little bit more, so I enjoyed that one. The Victor
Yeah,
Zsasz in this movie, no, he wasn't up to snuff. Like I always enjoyed Victor Zsasz, and this one he wasn't bad to me. He just wasn't fleshed out enough. Because Victor Zsasz, if anybody who didn't know Victor Zsasz, all those scars you saw on his body, each one of those was a different kill. So every time
yeah,
he killed
yeah.
somebody, he would scratch it into his flesh. That lets you know the level of a psychopath, of a criminal who doesn't really care about your life, how crazy he is. And I just didn't get that vibe from this dude.
I mean, Victor's ass. He was more of a like a mafia style killer, not an insane monster criminal like he is in the Batman Detective Comics. Roger, you want?
no, I was gonna say, was he that was the disappointment of this film. To me, no one was truly fleshed out other than Harley Quinn. And I understand, yeah, she was supposed to be the standout person of the movie, but they didn't really do enough of anything with the other characters for me to invest in them. You know,
Okay,
so if you had a person who didn't know anything at all, they're not gonna be attached to anything happening in this movie, and it wasn't that great of a movie. It just really wasn't. It's just a
yeah,
cool.
uh,
I can see you. I can see
okay,
myself chilling at the crib. Let me see what's on television type of deal. What's out there on Netflix type of deal. Let me see what I want to watch. Okay, this is cool to watch at the crib, but there was no pizzazz to this. There was nothing special about it. It was just alright.
okay, Roger,
So
Roger. Okay, go ahead, Daddy.
I recently just watched Joe Rogan, and on Joe Rogan had Robert Downey Jr. on there, and they were talking about the movie roles and the way these movies are going and how they do them. And one of the things he said that stuck out to me, and it's been said for a while, is the new genre of superhero movies aren't necessarily superhero movies. They're more or less movies about people who happen to be superheroes, right? Or in this case, super villains or whatever the case is. Um, if putting it in that perspective, do you feel like that changes the dynamic of the movie? Because this is a woman who is the former ex-girlfriend of a crime boss. We look at these characters with a little bit more reverence than maybe they should have or they would have in a real world. So we're giving them a little bit more of a reverence of what they're supposed to have, rather than it just being a world where, hey, listen, Victor Zaz kind of might, if you think of it, he would be a little low level mafia hitman. These other characters would be low level, kind of not enough to mention story archetypes. If you look at it like that, how do you feel about the movie now?
I still feel it
Uh,
was a bad movie. I still feel it wasn't that great because like I said, the story wasn't that good in my opinion. Because if you think about it, they were trying to get something accomplished in this movie, but you got to really put your mind to it to think about what accomplishment they were really trying to do at the by the end of the movie. So I understand what Robert Downey Jr. is saying, and that's how the MCU does their movies. This wasn't quite the same thing. I do
uh,
understand that they tried to make it somewhat realistic, it just wasn't much of a story, and it wasn't much of enough information or enough time to bring the characters together or even a good enough reason to bring the characters together. You barely knew why the Hunters had even met these people. If you think about it,
Yeah,
they barely even said
yeah,
why
yeah.
they met the people.
Here's a scene that didn't make sense though. The scene where the club was, where supposedly this is in the interview. Ewan McGregor said that, yeah, he does something extremely misogynistic. He's a very misogynistic guy. That's what's supposed to be the worst quality of Black Mask, and that's why it didn't work. I mean, necessarily because he could have been a misogynist and established himself as a villain, but that's pretty much all he did. Remember the time? Remember the scene where he made that woman stand up on top of the table and cut her dress off slightly,
Mm.
and he was like, "Cut her dress off." That was supposed to be like really like one of the worst things that he could have did in this film. But what I'm
Not the
thinking
cutting of the
is what
face
they
off
try.
because the girl had a booger, but that.
Yeah, I know that that would be, but he wanted like he did the interview like he wanted people to especially look for that scene just to send a strong message about misogyny in our society. And what I
Well,
think
it
that the
didn't.
movie was okay. Well, I think that what killed this movie for real was they were trying to connect to an audience. They were trying to connect to the they were trying to connect to the comic book normies, and they were trying to connect to people who might not have known what Birds of Prey was from the comic books at the same time. And what you're getting comic book normies that always wanted to see these characters come to life on the screen. And when they see the product, they're like, yeah, man. And then the people who aren't going to they know it's a comic book film that's not interested in comic book films. Those are the people they're trying to connect with by shoving into social messages. Oh, there's a pro LGBT message. Oh, there's a pro feminism message. Oh, we're going to see that film. That's what I think they were banking on. Now, if like y'all see the image on the screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, from left to right. That's Black Canary. That's the original Black Canary. That's Huntress. That's Cassandra Cain, and that's Renee Montoya. If you think it could have been a better film, say if they would have tried to get it a little closer to how they are right here. Like I'm talking about even with casting choices. I'm not talking about
No,
like
I mean,
avoid the race swaps or
there's.
anything. I'm just well go ahead.
I mean, they could have made the film better in many different ways. The film just wasn't that great of a film. This was like a decent episode of a TV show. That's what this
Okay,
film really was. It should be
okay.
better than what it
So
was all around.
are you saying that the CW's the swap overs that they did this year was better than Birds of Prey?
I mean, yeah,
Mm,
you're running along the same type of line. Yeah,
Ish.
probably the crossover version was probably better. If you watch those together and then watch the Birds of Prey right after, you probably take the crossover instead.
okay.
It
Now up on the screen is those are the original Birds of Prey. There's a there's Batgirl, there's a Huntress, and there's a Black Canary. What they will say about this image is that women are being overly sexualized by the way they're dressed. So there's no way, honestly, they could have got away with them dressing like this on the big screen. No way. Now, let me go to another image. This is Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad. She especially did not want to wear those shorts. She said that for this film, she did not want Harley Quinn overly sexualized. So, and I mean, I don't have any problem with, covered up superheroes. I don't, I don't have it's really just egregious sexual attraction to Margot Robbie or anything like that, but, I thought I should bring this up because they made it a special point to point out that's why she was dressing like this. Now, I have a question for you guys. At the end of the day, who cares?
nobody because I paid no
Feminist.
attention to how. Yeah, I paid no attention to how they were dressed. I paid attention to the fact that the story wasn't that great. That's what I paid attention to. The story wasn't that great. This was good for a television show. Period. This is not something you come out to the theater to see.
Okay. Yeah. Also, here's another thing I found problematic with the character Black Canary, and it like I said, it had nothing to do with her race swap or anything like that. I didn't really even care. The fact of the matter is her power. Like I didn't even know at any point that she had powers in this film till she used that power. The only reason why I knew she had a power in the first place because I watched the Justice League cartoon back in the day, and she could use her powers however and whenever she want. When she used her powers, it's like she fell out. Like, oh my god, I know it wasn't. I know it wasn't. I know it wasn't the Black Canary film, but the film was advertised as Birds of Prey. So you would have thought, since they advertised it like that, they would have them girls more featured, alongside Harley Quinn. But whatever. It's just
It's
that's
just a
part. Go
situation.
ahead.
It's just a situation where whoever wrote the film should be fired. That's all.
Yep, pretty much. Never
I don't
allowed
know
to do
who.
any of these kind of films again.
Yeah, I didn't look at it from the like the social justice warrior aspect of it all. Didn't care about any of that. But if I go to the movies to watch a film, I'm supposed to get something
I
better
care
than
about it in the aspect that it affects the story in the negative way. That's
no,
that's
no,
that's how that's how I care about it. I don't want
no,
to
no. That
like.
makes sense. That makes sense. But I was gonna say when I go to the theater, I'm supposed to be getting something that's better than I would get on television.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I could have watched this on the USA Network at 7 o'clock on a Tuesday, and I probably still would have kept the TV on it. I mean, shoot, there would have been better options. Like I got a DVD book, I got streaming services. This is not to me. If they thought that they were going to be able to compete with the MCU with this, they weren't going to be able to do that. Not with this film. Now, future MCU films, maybe from what the changes I hear going on, but I mean, but this particular film now is like they're not. They clearly weren't. I feel like they clearly weren't trying to compete with anybody with this film. This, I will stick this in the box with Daredevil and Ghost Rider and the first Suicide Squad is
You
a
talking
lot
about?
better than
Hold
this
on,
film.
hold
I'll
on.
even put it like that.
You talking about the Ben Affleck Ghost Rider? I mean Daredevil and
Nicholas Cage Ghost Rider, yeah,
the
yeah,
Nicolas Cage goes right. Yeah, somewhere
big
along.
Banner Hope.
Yeah, yeah. I couldn't in my heart of hearts tell anybody to go out to the theater and watch this. Just wait, just chill. This ain't that serious. It's cool, but it's cool for you coming home from after school if you're a kid, or you coming in off the job. Make a sandwich, sit on the couch. It's cool for that. You know what? It's
This
cool for
was
just like that.
they forced this connection right here. This connection was forced. Like it felt forced. It might not have felt forced to you guys, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe everything in this movie was forced.
It just they just didn't have good writing. That's all. Sometimes you get people who get a shot. I don't know who wrote the movie, but sometimes you give people a shot and they just not that good.
Mm. Now, let
Yeah.
me see. I had an article pulled up. This is the director of this is the director right here of Birds of Prey. Uh, Kathy Yen. Yeah.
I'm not gonna blame. I'm not gonna blame the director as much as I'm gonna blame the writer. You can't give a director
It is
bad
kind of right.
material.
I mean, it is kind of your show when you do the direction part. That's why I blame Michael Bay for Transformers. This your show. Like uh, it
I mean,
this, but we both got our opinion.
you gotta have something to work with. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say that. To me, a director is like is kind of like the coach. But you got to get a coach some players. You know, um, it was a few little spectacular things when it comes to what the film looked like, because that's what I put more as far as with the hands of the directors. How do you make everything look and come together? But there just really wasn't much of a story here.
Mm,
I think okay, real quick. What was the actual big goal of the movie? What were they trying to do?
uh,
See,
well,
exactly. The story was not
I
that
mean,
good.
like
You can't even remember.
I was trying to get it out. I was trying to get it out what I think they were trying to do. It was a team up film with DC character all The goal was an all female superhero team up film. That's what it is.
But I'm saying, but the goal of the movie, it was a heist film. The movie was about the diamond that was stolen that you don't even barely remember.
So
It just wasn't.
my genuine opinion of what the movie was they had a star in Harley Quinn, is what they felt like from the Birds of Prey movie. So they said, all right, we're gonna give Harley Quinn her own movie. And then when they got to the writing room, they was like, you know what? We just don't think this character is interesting enough. Well, what are we gonna do in order to make this movie profitable and sell? Well, let's make it about her emancipating herself from the Joker. She's a strong woman. She don't need the Joker. All right, let's do that. And then they said, damn, she's still not interested enough. Well, what can we do? Well, let's make it the Birds of Prey, because she wasn't the Birds of Prey, but we got to put these other characters in here just to sell the film. And that's what it became. That's what it looks like when when you watch it. The first 30 minutes of the movie, she's on her own, she's running, she's doing her thing. Afterwards, that's when the other characters come in and you going, what is this about? What are you doing? Yeah. And it's a big whine to the end of the movie. You just I sound like
Yeah.
an old Jewish grandmother. Eh, eh,
Who
sweetie.
who felt like Huntress? Who felt like Huntress's rage issues was just out of nowhere?
Ridiculous.
They,
She was an angry character. You remember, she was an angry character. But like I said, I know she thought. I know she said words. But all I heard from her was grunts. Uh, 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 Huntress wants to kill you.
well,
Victor's
like
ass.
whoever wrote the movie just did a bad job. It just wasn't a great storyline. Because, like I said, at the end of the day, the movie was a heist film, but you barely think about what the actual heist was, and it was about stealing that major diamond. But you barely even think about
What
that
made
because
that girl eat that fuck? What made that girl eat that diamond?
I mean
What
that
made her
sounded
eat what?
when I heard that.
That was extremely stupid and incoherent to any of the story in the film. But the story was incoherent, so I guess it went along right along with it.
Yeah, it was just whoever wrote it. That's why I say, I mean, a director can only do so much. You got to give them something to work with. So whoever wrote it, they should be fired. Or they didn't do themselves a lot of justice for getting more writing jobs. I tell you that.
Mhm. No, okay. Well, we're probably gonna have to like wrap this up. But Donnie,
Yeah.
anything else you want to say about this film?
Yeah, next time just put Jared Leto in there and you have something interesting. That way you don't have to make these nonsensical characters come in that aren't really fleshed out. Got Jared Leto in there, let him take over.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry couldn't say this. Jerry couldn't say this. This whoever it was that sat down and wrote this movie. I don't know. I mean, this may technically be your day job, but you need another one. This was bad. It was not not this ain't for this wasn't theater quality. It was cool for a television show. Maybe you can make this a couple episodes of a television series. But
Like a
this
mini
is
series.
yeah. I mean, if it was a few episodes of a television series, okay. So it's because a television series you're gonna have so many episodes and everything that it was missing you'd expect it later. But this movie was missing a lot. It just wasn't a very well written movie in my opinion. So I'm not gonna say a person would think it just totally. But why you eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? There's no getting up going to the theater for this.
Shoot, not even a peanut butter jelly sandwich, like peanut butter toast. But
Yeah, they just yeah.
yeah, I probably like I'm gonna say it like this. Your excitement levels for a sequel is not there. My excitement level for it coming to a streaming service or television is not there. I really like if I see it come to Hulu, I'm probably not gonna click on it.
I'm pretty confident I'll never
It's that simple. Like it won't ever hurt me. It won't ever hurt me to never watch this movie again. It's not like I would say in Avengers: Age of Ultron. I can watch Avengers Age. The rewatchability on this film is to me is just not there. try harder. And for the record, I'm gonna say it has nothing to do with it being an all-female superhero team-up film. I've seen plenty of films with female leads that did outstanding, that I thought were outstanding. The Wonder Woman. Everybody uses Wonder Woman as an example, but it was a good film. It was a good film. I don't think I think that people need to get back to making these making what making these films. Whatever brought comic book films to the dance, they need to go back to that formula. Let people, like, to me, let people hash that out in their real lives, because we're doing okay. We're doing okay as far as our real lives go. But nobody has to be encouraged to do what they want to do. Okay, now you can say we were wrong, we were harsh with the film. There are people that are like that. There are people that thought this film was outstanding. Well, good for them. I didn't.
I doubt that's true. I
Roger
doubt
didn't.
that's
Roger didn't. And Donnie didn't either. And that's out of their own mouths and out of my own mouth too. So, Birds of Prey, Harley Quinn, Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey, the Harley Quinn movie, the Harley Quinn show. What I mean, the miniseries broken up into three parts. Um, yes, I do like, and I will say this in closing. I do recall thinking to myself inside the theater that this movie was too long. It
wow.
should have this movie would have been okay being a straight hour and 20 minutes.
You know why it
This
was too
movie was
long?
like
No Jared Leto.
why? Now, for people that are going to watch this, I'm going to tell you this. We're probably going to end up having a Joker tier discussion where we're going to discuss the goods and the bad parts about each Joker. And I'm talking about basically four Jokers. I'm talking about Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger, Jared Leto,
The best Joker.
uh, Mark Hamill, and now we got to include Joaquin Phoenix in the conversation. So those I said four, I think, as five Jokers, and also join us for like a broadcast we're going to try to do in the next few days. We're going to discuss the four Hulks: Bill Bixby. No, you have the Bill Bixby version, Lou Ferrigno, the Eric Bana version, the Edward Norton version, and the Mark Ruffalo version. Yeah, I want y'all to, yeah, these are the kind of discussions that we're going to have here at the Black Dimension. Instead, especially with all our fleshed out movie reviews, such as this one right here, Birds of Prey. Um, and in closing, this movie is a bootleg. You don't have to rush to see this one. But we could be wrong, but we're not wrong to ourselves.
We not
So
wrong.
this is the so this is the Black Dimension. A special shout out to Reigning Woman who tuned in and left us some beautiful comments here. Um, yeah, and look at how she feels about the Black Dimension. Hey guys, I love you. And once you get to know us out there, you'll love us too. So this is the Black Dimension, and we are out. Check out the replay.
Very nice. How much?